Hello, I'm Tony, and welcome to the Tony Shap Show. Hello, everyone. Today I have Jack Paxton with Top Growth Marketing. We're super excited to have him on the show. He's going to share a little bit more about himself, his business, and what he's all about. So I want to first off start off with saying thank you, Jack, for making time to come on the show and for us to get a chance to know you. So, Jack, say hello to everyone.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. Really appreciate it, and glad we sort of met not too long ago, and we got to connect like this. I think it'll be a really good episode.
Absolutely. I'm super excited to speak with you and find out more about you. So I typically start things off, as you know, we like to have fun and just start off with the one word, my famous, I have the famous top 10 with Tony, a lot of T's in there, but my famous opening is, what is your one word open how you're feeling exactly right now?
I would have to say tired right now, just after 2020, and then this at the moment, what's going on with Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and all that sort of stuff. We're moving offices and all sorts of stuff. So I would say a little bit tired at the moment, and looking forward to that long weekend.
Awesome. I kind of have to agree with you on that one. So I do agree with you on that one. Great. So what did you let us know how you got started in your business and what your business is all about? So we have a good high level overview of who you are, what you do, and who you do it for. That would be great, Jack.
Yeah, sure. The easiest way to do this is just break it down into a timeline. So first started out doing pretty much like affiliate marketing, learning marketing, kind of myself digitally, when we were doing like way back in the day where it was PPV and it was all big traffic networks and affiliate offers, that sort of stuff. And then I kind of progressed into social and search, because Facebook kind of just launched at that point, and I was fortunate enough to time it really, really well and get involved in Facebook at a very kind of like early stage ad platform. And then from there, continue to run ads there and saw a lot of success. Back in the day, you could literally throw up anything. It would all get approved instantly. And there was not too many settings you had to go through, and all of it converted really, really well. As you look kind of like 8 years, and now over the 8 years, I've kind of gone from learning myself, working in agencies, starting an agency, building software and SaaS companies. So that's kind of been like the process. And yeah, along the way, the real core fundamental has been running paid ads and scaling companies through that, mostly e-commerce. And then on my own side with companies, we have done PPC, but also B2B and SaaS. We've found a little bit more success with content marketing. So have also pivoted a little bit over towards content marketing. But my whole background has been in marketing, most of it paid advertising, scaling lots of companies through Facebook and Google pretty much, and then exploring new platforms as they've come out. Some of them are stuck, some of them haven't.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that with us. What would you say is your biggest win, and what have you learned from it so far in this business?
I think the biggest win was jumping into Facebook when it was kind of like very early stage, because you got to really jumping into Facebook now is quite tough because there's just so many features, so many options, and it can get quite confusing. Whereas if you've been using the platform over years, kind of these small little changes don't really have that big an impact. There's not a biggest learning curve. So I think the biggest win was getting into that early, connecting with the right people. I'm from Australia originally. Then I moved over to America, and then budgets and company sizes 10x'd. In Australia, it was really small. Budgets were small, very risk adverse. And then I came over to America, had a bunch of great opportunities, very aggressive with scaling compared to Australia. And, got to jump on a few e-commerce accounts that were spending, $100,000 a day on Facebook and Google. And, that was really eye-opening because, one, it showed the scalability of these platforms, and two, it also created a lot of great kind of talking points and case studies that I then rolled into starting an agency and working with some really awesome people and helping e-commerce brands grow. And then as you kind of naturally start out an agency, you're like, okay, well, we've got the agency here. What's another revenue stream, or what's an additional revenue stream that you can create? And then that's when we started getting into building our own software, and I partnered up with a CTO. And that was a second really big win, partnering or having a co-founder that was technically based, and I was marketing based. So we kind of covered a lot of the fundamentals of growing a business without having to hire.
Excellent. And I know we don't like to talk about, failures, but it is what it is. It's there. We all learn from it. And, we just have to talk about it, because a failure is something that you don't learn from it and you stay on the ground, as a lot of the famous people say. So if you could share with our audience, what is your biggest failure that you've had in the last, 12 months, and what did you learn from it, Jack? That would be great.
Man, like most founders, I think hiring is always going to be a sore point. You can't get it right every time. So some of the biggest failures, I think, have been definitely around hiring the wrong people, whether it be in the wrong time, the wrong skill set, the wrong attitude. Been sort of doing it for, I don't know, like five plus years now. So there's definitely been some bad decisions in there with hiring. But I definitely think you learn and you get stronger from them. But yeah, I would say the last 12 months, we tried to do a partnership deal with someone, just weren't on the same page length. And the mistake was that we didn't vet the partnership enough before jumping in. And I would say the learnings from that mistake were definitely working with someone before you commit too much to it. So kind of test the water. Definitely do more due diligence because, you do need to understand the relationship you're going into with someone if it's a partnership, because you're essentially kind of like marrying that person. Because if you're working that closely, you're talking to them every day. Their concerns are your concerns, or their financial issues are your financial issues. So yeah, really learning from that was a really good, I think, growing point. And those mistakes do happen and those failures do happen. So I think, like most founders, hiring and then also, partnerships they can either work out really, really well. Like we've had some instances where it's been amazing, but then we've also had some failures that didn't work out too.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that with us, Jack, because to your point, that's a valuable gem that you just gave our audience, because you're so right. One bad apple when it comes to the bright people, so to speak, on your that are on your team, one bad apple could ruin the whole team, right? So and then also with partnerships, you couldn't have said it better. So thanks for sharing that with us. That's a valuable. Actually, I consider that priceless. Those two components are priceless for any founder to hear startup. And also, because sometimes, we have people on the show that are founders and they're at the startup stage, and sometimes they're at the new next growth stage. So they're at 7 figures, they're going to eight figures, and 8 figures is a big gap between the next jump. So they forget the fundamentals, and those are really good that you said, whether it's considered fundamentals or not. So let's talk about your biggest business expense as of today. Can you share with our audience what that is?
Yeah, so I would say, we've got 3 companies. We've got the ad agency, we've got a software company, or 2 marketing software companies, one that focuses on giveaways, contest referral programs, and then one that focuses on kind of like the Shopify for digital products. Now, I'll break it down into those 3 sections. So if you're running an ad agency, your number one cost is going to be staffing. Most agencies run on, you can only scale as you hire more people, you hire more resources to then fulfill all the work that you're doing. So at an agency, by far, it's hiring. On the giveaway, contest and referral program, we do really large volume, kind of like B2B campaigns a lot of the time, or so B2C, but like we're selling to the business who's doing the B2C. So it's B2B focused, but the thing is with giveaways and anything viral, you have massive amounts of traffic. So our biggest expense on that one would be server cost for sure. We made a mistake of not having a pricing model that matched our variable expenses versus we matched kind of our pricing model to the success of someone. So there's two kind of things that you can do in that scenario. You can either price to your variable expenses, or you can price to your outcome of your customers. So, you know, you win some, you lose some in that model. And then the third one, which is Hiax, the content marketing, the Shopify content marketing site. Sorry, not content marketing, the Shopify for digital products. That one, we're only just getting off the ground. So we don't have that many expenses yet, but this is a really good point that I made earlier, is when you partner up or when you become a co-founder with someone with complementary skill set to yourself, that can keep your expenses down really low. So for example, we've been developing that for 12 months. If we had to pay 12 months of development cost to build that product, you know, it just would have been way too expensive. But we've had, you know, my co-founder is CTO. So he's technical and he's got a very big coding background. So he built most of the first MVP sort of thing. So the expenses haven't been as high, but so far, yeah, development cost has been the most. And I think with most software companies, you're going to see that kind of spike in, you know, getting it off the ground with development expenses. And then you kind of start seeing a much better ROI on that once it's built.
Awesome. And what's your favorite online tool that you use currently as of today?
There's a few actually, like Google Suite for sure. Like I use Google for everything. It's like the Google Drive, calendar, everything. But that's kind of a boring one. So I use this service called brain.fm. It's kind of like this, instead of listening to music with lyrics, which I can't really do because I'm terrible at multitasking. So brain.fm is a kind of like a radio station where there's no lyrics and it's all just scientifically created music that helps you focus. So I listen to that. And then Hubstaff we use for a lot of our kind of like project management and staff management. Really great software. Absolutely love it. It's got a lot of stuff in there, which is great. What else? And obviously like Facebook and Google, like, you know, we spend a lot of time on those.
Yeah. No, Brain FM, I'm very familiar with that platform. I remember early on, they didn't have, you were probably early adopter too. Early on when it first launched, I got on and didn't even have an app. And then you just went to their website and then it wasn't mobile friendly. They made it mobile friendly and then they got the app. So they've evolved. And I you know, the reason why I like Brain.fm, I'm so glad you mentioned it with our listeners, is that there's a study that shows if you're listening to music while you work, if you're doing deep work, if you have music, sometimes with lyrics, like you said, you actually are spending more brain power to block that so you could focus on what you're doing. So you're spending all this bandwidth in your brain trying to block that music so you can focus. And, you know, I try to tell my kids the same thing. Like when you're studying, they're like, oh, I like listening to music and this and that. And of course, they don't want to hear what I have to say. But I'm like, well, there's studies that show that's why, you know, classical music people, yeah, exactly. They're like, Dad, you know. But no, thanks for sharing with that, sharing that with us. Now tell our audience, what is the biggest or your favorite tool that you're getting results with when it comes to client acquisition?
So clients for us or clients for our clients?
for you. Great question.
Okay, got it. So I would say, you know, even though my background is all in PPC, I would say where we've found some of the most success for getting clients for our agency or getting, I suppose it's like users for our B2B stuff, has been content marketing. Creating good content, putting the effort in to promote that content. So, you know, once you create the content, that's only half the job. You know, the other half is you've got to get it in front of the right people. It's got to be good enough for them to like, enjoy, and share. So I would say content marketing has probably been one of the most successful strategies. And then doing kind of like joint collaborations, like we do for the agency, we do a lot of joint trainings with Shopify, for example. So we teach all the Shopify merchants how to run Facebook ads, and we do like beginner, intermediary, advanced courses for those merchants. And so that really helps connect us with the right people. And that creates a lot of really great content for us, which we then go and use in our marketing efforts. So even though there's no direct ROI on teaching those classes or anything, we do take that content and repurpose it, and that's where you get the ROI.
Wonderful. So it sounds like it's a wonderful long-term play for you and when it comes to content marketing. Awesome.
Yeah, content marketing for sure. Like if you're in B2B, it's like, I think you need to have the foundation of content marketing, and then the PPC is kind of like the accelerator on top of that. But when you look at e-commerce, we have companies that 90% of their conversions come through Facebook or Instagram, which is terrible because you want to diversify, but that's just kind of like the fact of how they're scaling so quickly and so high. If they were to do content marketing, it'd take them, 6-12 months to achieve, even close to traffic levels or close to the conversion levels that PPC could get them. So it is a long-term game, content marketing.
Understood. Thanks for sharing that with us. And tell us about, if you were me, what is the one question that I should be asking you, Jack, that I haven't yet? So feel free to share that with us.
Yeah, this is a really good one. I would say what you should have asked me. Possibly kind of like the most successful campaign you've ever run, or something like that, because there's a lot of aspects that go into that. This is a great question for you too, because you can kind of vet which questions you should work into your future interviews.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
So do you want me to answer that one too?
Yeah, I'd love to hear that. Yeah, of course.
Okay, so I think there's a few things that make a really successful campaign, and a few examples I can give. So one, you kind of have like your copy and creative, which includes like, how will you write an ad or what the offer is. So that's the number one thing you've got to think about, creating a really good offer, really, really compelling offer. And then you need to have the right traffic. So you've got to do the right targeting, whether it's paid, organic, influencers, affiliates, whatever it may be. You've got to have the right traffic. Otherwise it's never going to convert, how good the offer is. And then the last one is the website experience. So it's like, how do I make sure that when someone clicks through my ad, I get that ROI per user? So I would say probably the most successful campaign was with a food subscription company. And we were running ads, and I think, the LTV was up into the thousands. And so our goal was, I think, a $200 CPA. And so what we did was, and this was way, way back in the day when the food subscription companies were just starting to come out. And so we were doing, I think it was like 3 free meals or something like that on sign up. And that was just like, converting at a crazy low CPA and backing out to like this thousands of dollars LTV. And that was one of the reasons that we were able to scale so successfully. But if you were looking at the direct ROI on that click to first purchase, we didn't make any money for the first month. You had to wait for that month for that revenue to start coming in, which I think is a huge lesson for a lot of business owners, whether they're in the subscription space or even just the one-off purchase space. Maximize your LTV of your customers, and don't just look at your ROAS or direct ROI. Look at your LTV, lifetime value. Because I think that's shooting a lot of advertisers in the foot when they're going to these platforms like Facebook and Google, and they just want like a 10 ROAS, and they're like, all right, I want to scale to like tens of thousands of dollars a day to 10 ROAS. And it's like, well, you're selling something for $14 a month. You're not going to get 10 ROAS. So I don't know, there's a lot of learning in there for companies that are not looking at LTV and lifetime value, and also trying to craft a better, more appealing offer. Those two things are really important.
Awesome. And as we're coming to an end, let our viewers know how they can get a hold of you. How could they contact you? What's the best method of communication that you prefer, in case they have any questions about, this talk or anything about what you do and all that good stuff?
Yeah, sure. So you can go to topgrowthmarketing.com, check out the agency. You can go to vyper.ai to check out the giveaway and rewards program software. And you go to hyax.com to check out the Shopify digital products. And if you want, you can just shoot me an email, jack@vyper.ai. I'll get that, and more than happy to answer any of those questions. And I can push you in the right direction. There's so much content we have on like guides, courses. We're doing like all free courses right now for kind of like, helping entrepreneurs and businesses out during kind of Black Friday, Cyber Monday sort of thing. So yeah, more than happy to share those if anybody wants them.
Awesome. I know the listeners will definitely appreciate that. So thank you very much on that. And the last question, the famous last question, what is the one word close that you're feeling right now, Jack?
A bit more motivated than when we started.
Nice. I love it. Love it. Well, everybody, there you have it. There's Jack Paxton with Top Growth Marketing. He shared with us his gems. He shared with us where he is at today, and not to mention where he came from and where he's going. So we're super grateful for his time. And until next time, everybody, thanks again, and have a wonderful rest of your week.
Thanks, Tony.
Thanks. And there you go. I hope you enjoyed it, and great to have you, and thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for the next episode. Till next time, onwards and upwards.